The Beyond Words series started in 2012 when we started a series where we wanted to highlight the power of words in performance. So not just a reading, not just a lecture, but something where you could see just how words could be used in different ways in performance. We threw around some ideas as a group, and what came out was Severn Cullis-Suzuki talking about environmentalism and sustainability, and we paired her with Tanya Tagaq, who takes the traditional form of Inuit throat singing and interprets it in her own very dynamic way. And we wanted to see what these two artists would do.
I think having them together creates this incredible landscape of shared history, of environmental thought, of thinking about Indigenous people and their relation to the land. I mean, putting it all together is, it's something I've never seen before, and I don't know if we'll ever see again. I think it's an amazing collaboration.
I think the arts is a huge way that we are able to raise human consciousness, because it's not just cerebral. You can go places instantly through art that it takes a long time to get to with just talking.
I really respect Severn's work because she says in words what I say in sound.
I love this idea of Beyond Words as a speaker series. I think we really have to try and figure out how to talk to each other in all different categories. And definitely, being on stage with Tanya, I think opens the audience up in a different way. And then with some words, with some explanation in some direction, I think we can perhaps make these jumps and maybe a change of heart.
Because all cultures fear the unknown. All of us. It's just breaking down those walls.
Tonight, we are going to start with the mind, and then we are going to go to the soul. Who am I? Who are you? And who are we? We answer with stories. Our ecological story is that we evolved from life on Earth, from the original slime molds 3.9 billion years ago, from the fish, from the reptiles, from the mammals. Our human story is only 8,000 generations long. About 6 lifetimes ago, we discovered that we could harvest the energy of ancient sunlight, first in the form of coal and later in the form of oil. And this gave us energy revolutions that drastically increased the complexity of our human technology, of our human society, increased our globalization, and of course, exploded our population. And so we came to truly dominate this earth. We became the most influential animal species on the globe to an atmospheric level, where we are changing the composition of the skies, where we are changing the acidity of the oceans. And the story of the humans is starting to affect the story of the entire family of life. We are young, far younger than, say, turtles or frogs or bees, and yet these are groups of animals with species that we are pushing off of the evolutionary cliff. Now, there's been mass extinctions in the history of life before, but they call ours the Anthropocene extinction because the cause is us. As we expanded across this world, as we colonized, as we left our home places, our ancestral lands, the places where our great-grandmothers were born, as we urbanized away from the soil, from the animals, from our farms, from our traditions, we also dropped our long-term core survival strategy and story that we are part of a continuum, that our moment is but a moment, that our lives are only one step in the great march of our time. I think that we have the answers to all these global, huge problems right in ourselves, right embedded in our DNA, right in the depths of the story of who we are. Many of us have heard the saying attributed to Native Americans, "We do not inherit the earth from our ancestors, we borrow it from our children." This was the strategy for security, for our family, for our tribe, for our society. Every one of us made it here. Every one of us made it here because of this ethic in our ancestry, no matter where we all are from. We love. We can be selfless. We have boundless generosity. We can care for others. And in these human acts of creating perspective, relationship, kinship, and love, we are acting in resistance and growing our resilience for the shocks that are surely coming. Let us bring back our humanity to the world. Let us fall in love with the world again.
Working with Severn has allowed something to happen within my sphere of being that couldn't happen before, which is an ability to express exactly what I feel musically, but with words and efficiency and ability in that linguistic sense, because I don't use words typically. Being on an airplane a lot and taking my daughters, one time we left Yellowknife and flew all around the globe. And when I did that, over about a 2-week period, I realized how small the Earth is, because when you're flying around and you're looking down on the Earth, and almost everywhere you look, it's huge plumes of smoke rising up. You realize the Earth is actually quite small, because previously we couldn't travel, so we could keep ourselves insulated from what's happening over there. You don't realize how close we really are and how ridiculous our differences are going to seem. As humans, we can find the smallest difference in each other and hate each other for it, like skin color or which deity you choose to believe in, because we're all so desperately trying to figure out what's going to happen to us after we die. Such a ridiculous folly when we could be enjoying the flesh that we have. In order for North America to be built on slavery and genocide, there had to be a general consensus put out that people were lesser. And of course, now it's a different Canada, but there's that undercurrent that's happening because of that seed that was planted in order to make this all happen. How do we dig up that seed? It's about reconciliation. It's about people beginning through empathy to understand what transpired within history to make the terrible equation that resulted in what's happening within the tribulations of Indigenous people in Canada today.